Hello students, in this video we will discuss about insulators for the overhead transmission lines. We will discuss the characteristics, properties, ratings, types and voltage distribution in an insulator. Now there are two materials for insulators normally used. One is called as the porcelain, another one is called as the glass. As you know that glass is very fragile, so normal glass cannot be used. We have to use a toughened glass. Toughened glass will not break. Now this insulator, these are different types. Now this insulator is made of porcelain. Now what is porcelain? Porcelain is nothing but it's a clay. It consists mainly of clay. Clay means sand and it has silica. Now why they prefer to use sand and silica? Because sand and silica are are having good insulating capacity. So this is a single insulator, whereas this is a string of insulators. Now as you know, overhead transmission lines are supported by towers. Now this is the tower. Now the tower is connected to the ground and this is the bare conductor. If you connect the bare conductor to the tower will become at live potential. So we don't want this to happen. So in between the, let me show you. So this is our conductor. This is our conductor. So this is our conductor and this is our tower. This is our transmission tower. Now this transmission tower is grounded. So when the transmission tower is grounded, it means that it is at ground potential. Now this is a bare conductor. This bare conductor you cannot directly connect it to the tower. If you connect it, the tower will also become at the line potential. So if you touch the tower, you will get a shock. So in order to avoid this, we use an insulator. So in between the tower and the conductor, we have the insulators. Now this insulator, each one of these is called as a insulating unit. Now here you see a string of insulators. This is called a string of insulators. This is an insulator string. String means it's a connection of individual insulators. This is called a string of insulators. Now why we are discussing about string of insulators? Because when we go for high voltage applications, we need a string of insulators. Here we see that there are only 4 units, insulating units. Here we see that there are many insulators. So the number of units is more, the strength of the insulator will become, the dielectric strength of the insulator will become more. Now can you see a opening here? This is the opening for the conductor to flow. This is called as the pin type of insulator. This insulator is called pin type. I will show you a image little later, but now understand that this is called as the pin type of insulator and this one is called as the string type of insulator. All these things are called string type of insulator. Now basically insulators are made of two material. One is called porcelain, another one is called glass. Not normal glass, but it is toughened glass. The insulators are rated in kilovolts per centimeter. Now you all know air is also an insulator. Air is not a perfect insulator, so a perfect insulator will never break down, but air is an insulator. It can break down when the voltage is more than, 30 kilovolts per centimeter. This is the breakdown voltage of air. Now we know that air is an insulator and we have already discussed this many times. Now here what we are trying to do, here I'm comparing air, which is an insulator, to the porcelain. So what is the dielectric strength of porcelain? It is nearly 120 to 280 kilovolts per centimeter, voltage per centimeter. And what is the toughened glass? You see, toughened glass is 10 times, dielectric strength is 10 times more than that of the porcelain. So this is used for very high voltage applications. Now, what are the properties? Now the properties there are two types of properties. These 5 properties are called physical properties of the insulator. This is called physical property. And the last two is called as electrical properties. So this is physical property and the last two. This is called electrical property of the insulator. Now you have to understand the property of insulator, then only you can appreciate how it works. Now if the insulator has a pores or air spaces, now what is the problem? The insulating dielectric strength will greatly reduce. Now there should not be any impurities. It should be a homogeneous material. Homogeneous material means a material without impurity is called homogeneous material. What do you mean by leakage current? The current which flows through the capacitor is called as a leakage current, and I will teach you how you can model this insulator as a capacitor in a later slide. Now understand, the leakage current through the insulator should be minimum. All of you know insulator will not allow the current to flow through it. That is why it's called insulator. So insulators will not allow, but there will be a current in microamperes or very small current, and that current is called leakage current, and that should be minimum. Now insulator should be able to withstand normal voltages and over voltages. It should be able to withstand the voltage stress. It should be mechanically strong. Why it should be mechanically strong? Because it is bearing the weight of the conductor. So these are the characteristics of the insulator. So first four characteristics refers to the physical characteristics, and the next two characteristics refers to the electrical characteristics. Now let me ask you a question. What do you mean by glazing? What do you mean by glazing? Glazing means this polished surface. Can you see this? This polished surface is called a glazed surface. Now why you have to glaze a porcelain insulator? We have to glaze because if there is a rain, what will happen? The water will enter into the porcelain and it will reduce the dielectric strength. So when the surface is very smooth, the water will flow down. That is why you see that there will be a slope. So water will normally flow down and it will not allow impurities to get inside the insulator. So this is the reason why the insulators are always glazed, especially the porcelain insulators are glazed. Remember, when air or impurity goes inside, the dielectric strength will not be 120 to 280. It will drastically reduce, so it will not serve the purpose. So we have to be careful. So that is why we use a glazed surface. Glazing means polished. Why need polishing? Again, I am repeating, because whenever there is air or when the climate is wet, water can enter into the porcelain and it will reduce the dielectric strength. So in order to prevent it, we use glazing. So now we are going to compare the two insulators. I already told you there are two insulators. Porcelain is normally used or widely used. So we will compare glass with porcelain. As I told you before, porcelain has a lesser dielectric strength compared to glass. Glass has very high, 10 times more dielectric strength, but glass is not used. Porcelain is widely used. We will compare the advantages and disadvantages of the glass insulator with respect to the porcelain. Yeah, advantages: it has high dielectric strength, longer life, it has shock resistance, thermal expansion is more, it can no mechanical strength is good. The most important thing is this: if there is a crack in the glass, it is visible to the eye. If there is a problem inside the glass, we can see it. But if there is a problem inside the porcelain, if there is a air space, we cannot see it. So this is a great advantage of the glass. But the disadvantage of the glass is, this is the reason: it is expensive than porcelain. So many prefer to use porcelain. And moisture, that means water content, is condensed on the surface, and its resistance to mechanical load and temperature changes is poor. So these are the reasons why we prefer to use most of the times porcelain, even though glass has a high dielectric strength when compared to the porcelain. Now, this is a very important slide. There are three types of voltages. Whenever we discuss about insulator, we should know about this. Now, one is called the rated voltage. Rated voltage means the line voltage of the conductor where we are going to connect the insulator. So, it is designed to bear the steady state voltage or the line voltage of the conductor. Stress means voltage per centimeter. So, voltage per centimeter is called as the stress. Now, what do you mean by flashover voltage? Now, flashover voltage means, now listen, if the voltage is increased, can you see a arcing on here? I'm going to show you. Can you see a on here? This is called as the arcing on. Now when the voltage level is more, you will get a arc. You will get a arc across the insulator. The air surrounding the insulator is ionized, and you will get an arc across this arcing horn. The voltage at which you get this arc is called as the flashover voltage. So this voltage, flashover voltage, means the voltage at which the air surrounding the insulator becomes a conductor, and there is a flashover. Flashover means it is an arc. Now what do you mean by puncture? Puncture means the voltage level is too high that the entire insulator is damaged. This breaking occurs inside the insulator. So that is the difference between flashover and puncture. In flashover, the arc will appear outside, whereas in puncture, it will puncture, it will go through the insulator and it will damage the insulator. So there are three different voltages: rated voltage, flashover voltage, and puncture voltage. Now the safety factor will be always greater than. It is essential that we design the system in such a way that the safety factor is greater than 10. Now what do you mean by safety factor? It's a ratio of flashover voltage to the rated voltage or the working voltage. This should be greater than 10. In normal case, what we is desired is, we have to desire is the flashover, because when there is a flashover, it will not damage your string of insulator. But if there is a puncture, it will damage the insulator. So we have to protect this insulators. So if we have to protect this insulators, we have to make sure that the safety factor is at least greater than 10. So safety factor means that's a ratio of flashover voltage to working voltage. Now these are the different types of insulators. This is called as the pin insulator. A pin insulator is used for a medium voltage transmission lines normally, and the spool is, and this is shackle type, or it is also called as the spool type. There are two names, and this shape is called a Dumbly shape. You have to remember the name of this. This is called as the Dumbly, D-U-M-B-L-Y. This is the name of this shape. This is called Dumbly shape. It is used for low voltages, especially in the rating 220 to 440. Shackle type is used in low voltages, 220 to 440 volts. This is the rating for under, when the voltage is around this level, we can use a shackle type. This suspension type is a string of insulators. Now string of insulators, I already told you, you can increase the length of the string. If you increase the number of insulating units, the dielectric strength of this entire string will become high. So here we can use this for high voltages. We can keep on adding these strings to the desired voltage level we need. So this is used for high voltage. Now the difference with this strain type is also used for high voltage transmission line. Now what is the difference between the strain and the suspension type? They both are almost similar, only the direction. Here it is hanging, it is in this direction, and here the direction is like this. Here it is mainly used to change the direction of the conductor. See here the arcing on is clearly visible. This is called arcing on. This is called as the arcing on. So when the air across the insulator is ionized, you will get an arc. So that is called as the flashover voltage. The voltage at which you get this arc is called flashover. In puncture, the arc will be inside, so it will damage the insulator. So here it is very clear. This is called as the arcing on. So the strain type insulator, for example, assume that the transmission line is coming like this, straight in this direction, and I want to change the direction of the transmission line to this direction. It's not a straight conductor. Here, this is the end point, so I want to change the direction. In this situation, I will use a strain insulator to change the direction from straight to left. I can use a strain insulator. So strain insulators are mostly used at dead ends. Dead end means that is the end of the line. No more connections are there. So in the dead end, we will use a strain type of insulators. Now here I am giving you an example. So see here, this is called pin type. This is called as the pin. This is the pin. This is the tower. This is the pin. That is why this is called as the pin type. This is the pin which is connected to the tower. So this is called as pin. This is our tower. This is the tower, transmission tower. So where is the conductor? The conductor goes on top. That is why you see that there is a groove. This is the tower and this is my conductor. This is my conductor, live conductor. You see here the conductor goes on top through the groove. There is a cut for the conductor. Now the entire weight of this conductor, this pin should hold. So the mechanical stress in this pin is very huge because it has to hold the entire weight of the conductor. So this figure number 4, 7, 8 all are pin type. You can see these are all pin type. This is called as the cross arm. If you understood, this is an example of cross arm. You all know this transmission tower. It has many parts and one important part is called cross arm. This part is called cross arm where the insulators will hang. This is called as cross arm. So this is the cross arm. So what is this? This is an example of suspension type. All these numbers 5, 6, 9. So figure 5, 6, 9 are all examples of suspension type. Especially this one. What type this is? This is strain type because this is the end point. See here, this is connected. And this is a suspension type. This is the conductor. The conductor, this is the conductor, this is hanging from the cross arm, insulator is hanging. See, this is not connected to the, it is just going through this hanging. So here the conductor is hanging, but here the conductor is connected to the top. So the mechanical stress here will be more. In pin type insulator, the mechanical stress will be more, but in a suspension type, because the conductor is not directly connected, it is just going through the hanging, the mechanical stress will be less. So these are all different pictures I collected from internet for you. Now what is this pin type insulator? I have told you this is a medium voltage, simple in construction, it is very cheap. The conductor is fixed on top. This is the space for conductor. And two insulators cannot be joined together. This is the disadvantage. It is manufactured in only one voltage level and two insulators. You cannot make it as a string. If you want to manufacture this for higher voltages, it becomes very costly. So this is the reason why they prefer pin insulator only to a medium voltage system. There is an arrangement. This is called as a steel pin. This is connected to the tower and the conductor. So see here, this is the conductor. Conductor is connected to the top and this pin is connected to the tower. So this is the pin type. Suspension type insulators are each unit, each insulating unit. See, each ring is manufactured at 11 voltage, 11 kV. It is a voltage rating, 11 kV. Or you can manufacture at 15 kV. For example, if I need a rating of 110 kV, how many individual units I have to connect? If I want a rating of 110 kV, what I have to do is I have to just take 10 insulating units of 11 kV and connect them as a string. So we can get a rating of 110 kV. So by using different number of disc, a suspension string can be made suitable for any voltage level. The good thing about the suspension type is if one of the individual unit is damaged, we can replace the individual unit instead of replacing the entire string. The mechanical stress on the insulator is less. Yeah, I explained this before because it is hanged. It is the conductor weight is not on top, it is only hanging. But string insulators are costly than pin type insulators. So these are the disadvantages. You can go through the disadvantages of suspension type insulator. Now strain type insulators I already discussed. When you want to change the direction, we can use the strain type of insulator. Sharp corner, I want to turn the direction, this can use. So this is also a suspension type. We call it a strain because it's used at the dead ends. Now this is spool type. This is used in low voltage conductors like the roadside distribution system. You can find this one. This is called the spool type. This is the transmission tower. This is the cross arm. This is the spool. This is a dead end. So this is the conductor. It can be used in both horizontal and vertical position. This is important. You can either hang it or use it horizontally or vertically. Now here this is the interesting part. Now listen here, this is the tower and this is called as the cross arm. Now there is a metal part here, this part is metal and this part is also metal. In between we have insulator. So this forms a arrangement of a capacitor. So this is a modeling of insulator. So this is a capacitor. Same way here, how many units here? 1, 2, 3, 4. So you have 5 capacitance here, and this one is a insulator, and this one is a conductor, and again air is an insulator. So if you see that, it becomes a series of capacitors. Now remember, this tower is also a metal and this is also a metal. So in between we have air. Here we have air. So this is also a capacitance. So it becomes a connection of series and shunt capacitance. So this capacitance here is to model this unit, this capacitance. This capacitance here is called as a shunt capacitance. It's a capacitance between the tower and the air. Tower, in between you have air, and there is a metal part here. So this is a metal part, this is a metal part, and in between we have air. So this forms a capacitance here. Now what is the capacitance here? Here the capacitance is between this conductor, and in between we have air. So this is the capacitance. So the transmission tower is modeled as capacitance in series and parallel. The current which flows through this capacitors is called as charging current, and that is the current flowing through the insulators will be very small, and that current is called as the charging current. And the capacitance, this capacitance is a ratio. This is called C. This is called MC. So M is a fraction. If this capacitance is 10, M will be 0.2. So what is this? This will be 2. So M is like a fraction. Due to shunt capacitance, what do you mean by shunt capacitance? Due to this capacitance, the current in each of these capacitors will not be the same. The current in each of these capacitors. So the voltage across each of the capacitors will also be different. This is a very important understanding. The voltage at this point, the point where the conductor is connected is called V5. This is the V5. This V5, normally what do we assume is V5, this is the voltage here, V4. Likewise, we can go up to V1. We expect all the voltages to be same, but in reality, they will not be the same. The voltage V5 will be greater than V4. V4 will be greater than V3. V3 will be greater than V2. V2 will be greater than V1. Why is this happening? Because of the effect of this shunt capacitor. Because of this, there is a small current which will flow. Because of the small current, the current flowing in this conductor will be less. So the voltage across this capacitor will be less. So this is called the voltage distribution over suspension insulators. What do you mean by voltage distribution? Voltage across each insulator. Now what do you mean by string efficiency? I told you the voltage is not going to be the same. So what is string? Voltage across the end strings. What is the voltage across this entire string? So this is going to be the line voltage. So this is the line voltage divided by N into voltage across the unit near to the power conductor. Which is the unit near to the power conductor? V5. This is the unit near to the power conductor. This ratio is called string efficiency. Normally, in an ideal case, we expect the string efficiency to be 100%. We expect the string efficiency to be 100%. Normal, ideal situation. But in normal situation, the string efficiency will be closer to 70% or less. So what we have to do? We have to improve the string efficiency. Now there are several methods to improve the string efficiency. Now one of these methods, now if you understand the reason for this decline, why there is a decline? The decline is because of the presence of this shunt capacitor. So if you could take care of this shunt capacitor by grading or by some other means, the string efficiency can be improved. So this is the expression. There is an expression. See here, voltage is current divided by impedance. So if you keep on calculating, you will find this current, the small amount of current goes here. So this current, so the voltage here will be less because a small current flows through the shunt capacitor. So this is just a mathematical expression to show the string efficiency. So these are my reference, and thank you.